You know, overall, that's a pretty good look right there. Ideally, something like this, like we want to see like maybe a little red to green or something like that. That's going to be ideal. So we need this thing really to break this. I think that, so it's about 78, 79. This thing's got a huge range on it. So if it starts to bust loose, it's going to bust loose, and it's going to probably do it in like 1 or 2 candles. So you have to be kind of mindful of that. This TTD is still flagging out. It needs this 9 EMA to catch up. Tesla, another gap down on this. This could very well be an exhaustion gap. You know, the support here is like at 286. It did touch it briefly. You know, you very well. I'm watching these kind of 2 support levels for a rubber band long on a bounce. So you can see here, like you got 2 different levels that are forming here. One's at 276. The other one's at 286, give or take. And you've got about 5 down days in a row right now. So this is day 4 on the down. Another gap down makes it like a rubber band long. So when you think about like something that has been down multiple days in a row, if you gap down 1 extra day, that kind of makes it could make it an exhaustion gap. And that could trigger a potential rubber band long. So we'll be watching this one for some type of red to green move or some type of 1, 2, 3 pattern. So at the open, when you think of what a 1, 2, 3 pattern is, right? Essentially what you need is, you know, it's got to plop down. Then you'll see a pop up, a higher low, and then a go. So like it'll almost look like a W. Those work really well right at the open. I find those to be really kind of some of the easiest ones to trade when you're looking at this stuff.
Not gonna happen. Trading.
Boom, 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 boom. What the fuck?
Not gonna happen.
Hold on one second. All these volumes coming in. There we go. So that's kind of how we're gonna play this bad boy. Dun, 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 dun. Mr. Justin, how you doing today? Scott, what you watching? Brad, what you got? Nugget? Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, you got a little gap up in Nugget today. It closed okay. You know, it had that run to kind of 1490, and you're gapping up on this thing. It's still really oversold, so you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see Nugget kind of run to like maybe the 9 EMA over the next couple days. So we'll keep an eye on this again today. Hey, Bruce, what's up, baby? So I do like this one too. Right now, you're starting to see a nice open at 14. We'll have to watch this thing. If you look at more of its 30-minute chart, what you'll start to see on this thing, right? This is kind of like an inverse head and shoulders where you like pop down and come up, which is essentially just like a W pattern. But you can see here, that's your range on the 30-minute chart that's going back to the 15th. Hey, Guarav, how you doing? Yeah, so let's see if this thing gets over this way, 1425. Same type of deal with JNUG. Dun, 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 dun. You know, you can see right here, you're kind of building out that range over there. Overall, it looks okay. So see the QQQs here. Looks pretty good. Overall, we're looking at probably a bounce week. As long as we hold this, you can see you're starting to test a 50 SMA like multiple times. So overall, we've got strong support that's holding right there. Hey, Danny, how you doing? So I'm expecting a bounce week, maybe back up to these highs. You can see, you know, if you come in here and hit the third tap, then that's going to be a breakout. So overall, the SPY and the QQQs look fairly good. The SPY's in a little bit more precarious position because, you know, you're stuck under like really what's a much longer term resistance. But if that breakout happens, it's going to be really powerful and you're going to see quite a bit of run over, you know, the thing. So that's going to be, you know, we need to break over this thing. And you're seeing it with the QQQs, that third tap starting to form. And now we're starting to really get this thing to be a go. So I'd keep an eyeball on this thing and really get this thing going. On the gap downsides, you're not really seeing that many gappers today. So earnings season is like kind of on the tail end of things. You're not seeing necessarily anything with some hot heat. And that's going to be a little bit of, it's going to be a tough one, you know. So what we need to do is kind of build off our normal list. So we've got Twilio here for a potential breakout. We've got Tesla for potential rubber band bounce. I really like this PVTL. I'm looking at this for a red to green today. It needs to break this trend line. If it gets over this trend line here, I think you're going to have something that could be a decent day. It was up 6% yesterday on 1.5 million shares in volume. It's still, the volume has been a little bit light. It has been increasing the last few days. So that's good. But it needs to break this trend line for it to get going. This PetQ still trying to flag out here, and that's really it. Keep this Mitch on watch list too. It did trigger yesterday for a swing, Friday for a swing trade, but overall it's got a nice range for even day trade, so that's going to be really good too. I definitely keep this one on the list. It's got a nice range to it. It's still oversold on the stochastics. You can see like after this is a power earnings move right there, right? Power earnings move on that bad boy. When you get a power earnings move with big volume like this one had, that those first pullbacks tend to get bought, right? They tend to get bought, and so that's going to be really important too. We've got to make sure that, you know, we're always right looking at. So I've got a list of kind of earnings gappers, stocks that gapped up on earnings and then now have consolidated. That's going to be a big part of what you're doing, especially if you're a swing trader. What you want to do on Sundays is make a list of the top gainers of, like, say, the last 10 days, and then put them on a list. What you'll start to see is a lot of these stocks set up here, after they gapped up on earnings, they're going to start pulling back to some supports, and they're going to start holding at some levels where they could get going, and you could get like kind of secondary runs on them. So that's going to be important. There's a whole host of these things. Keep an eye on this docu too. This thing, its earnings is not for really a couple more weeks. It should break out the highs before that if the QQQs get out. But, you know, overall, that's kind of the list of these things. Always kind of keep an eyeball on these bad boys. So to sum it up, right, we've got really Tesla, TWLO, PVTL, and Mitch, and then Nugget are going to be the hot ones. And, you know, everything else is going to be a little bit secondary. I would definitely keep CGC on list. We shredded this thing hard. I think I made $1,000 on this thing on Friday. We shredded this thing in the chat room on Friday. It's starting to open up strong too. I would not be surprised if this thing gets up to 36-ish. 36-ish. All right. So these are going to be, I'd keep, yeah, definitely CGC. Move that to the top of the list too, because we also, I like it when we trade something the previous day and we made money on it. All right, folks. Trade good today. It's Monday, right? So keep strong. Usually if you start your week off strong on a Monday, you're going to make money the rest of the week, but you don't want to have too big a risk on a Monday, because if you do, it starts to kind of fall over the rest of the week. Anytime I'm hot on Monday, I end the week strong. If you start cold on Monday, don't start gambling. Just take the rest of the day off and go. Give yourself a little max loss. But you never want to give yourself too big of a hole on Monday where you're down too much money. You can't make it back the rest of the week. That's what really starts the spin cycle of despair. You guys know what I'm talking about. When you get down and you start to overtrade. So start this week strong and let's go do what we do. Be good, be great, people.